Yo, what's going on, guys? Evan Tanaka here, back with another video. In today's video is I rate and improve your guys' team episode, I'm pretty sure 10. I'm pretty sure this is the 10th episode. If you guys are new to this series, you guys send me your teams at EvanTanaka10 on Twitter, and I review them in each video, giving them a rating out of 10, being a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it is, and I give you my suggestions of what players I think you should remove and what players I think you guys should add. If you guys like that, if you guys like the idea and want your team to be in this series, send it to my Twitter at EvanTanaka10, and you guys will be in the next video. Make sure to send your team and how much MT you currently have. If you guys are new here, we're on the road to 700 subscribers by the end of the year. I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe down below. I post 2 to 3 Myteam videos every single day and give some of the best no me spend content, tips, and tricks on the platform. Without further ado, let's get on to the video. First team we got here is from Bob, and he sent me his team on Twitter, of course, and he said he has 20k MT. That's all I really care about is your team and how much MT you have. So he's got this team and 20k MT. For a rating out of 10, I like everyone on your team except for Steve Nash, and Gus Gerard's a little bit outdated. Pippin's okay, so I'm going to give this team a solid 7.5 out of 10. My improvements would be sell Steve Nash. You can make probably a good amount of MT from selling him, and probably pick up somebody like you could go a Jordan Poole, you could go a Cole Anthony. I'm going to put Jordan Poole. I do like the looks of Jordan Poole. You could go Cole Anthony, and then you could go someone like Eric Snow if you want more of a playmaking guard. Again, you only have 20k MT, so I'm working with kind of a budget here. So Eric Snow is probably the one you want to go with, especially if you like Jason Terry, you'll love Eric Snow. So I'm going to get rid of these two guys, but these are two guys you guys also pick up as well for point guard position. Now, the position we want to get rid of is we want Gus Gerard gone. Bruce Bowen should be backup small forward instead of Pippin, and Pippin is gone. Darius Miles is fine there. For starting power forward, I'm going to pick up Ruby LeBron. Again, you only have 20k MT to work with, so I can't spend too much MT. So we're going to pick up LeBron James here. And the last player we're going to buy is Donovan Mitchell. You should, with selling, if you sell, Steve Nash, you should be able to pick up Donovan Mitchell, LeBron James, move Bruce Bowen down to the backup small forward, and pick up Eric Snow. I think that team is easily an 8 out of 10. I think that's a very solid team. Thank you, Bob, for sending your team on to the next one. Next team comes in from Random Muser, I think that's how you say it. And he sent his team on Twitter, of course, and he said he has 100k in auctions. We'll get more, but currently Pink Diamond tier going for Gary Payne. So we're going to work with 100k MT, and this is the team we got to work with. So, rating out of 10. The only player I'm not the biggest fan of is Caron Butler, but he's not terrible. So I'm going to give this team an 8 out of 10. I'm just not the biggest fan of Caron Butler. I think it's almost an 8.5. You guys a lot of people keep saying my ratings are inconsistent, so I'm really trying to think about my ratings. It's definitely better than the team before, but I feel like it's not an 8.5. I feel like 8.5 is a very elite team. This is a very good team though. So the improvements I would make with 100k MT, there's a lot of different ways you could go about this. I'm assuming you like Jason Terry and Drew. I would get rid of Eric Snow. I feel like you can definitely upgrade and go with a Drew Holiday, or you could go with a Poole or Cole Anthony, those type of guys. I think Drew Holiday would be a big upgrade. I like Havlicek, I like Kawhi. I'm personally not the biggest fan of Tobias Harris, but I've heard he's really good, so you definitely could keep him. Kristaps Porzingis is also really solid. So the only position I would recommend to upgrade is probably Caron Butler and pick up a good small forward. I personally think at this point in the year, guys, I don't think you need to go crazy expensive and have an insanely good team. I would just pick up a Bruce Bowen, and I would move Kawhi Leonard up the starting lineup, and then Bruce Bowen. The player you could pick up is that new card Batum. I think Batum is a very solid card as well. Not Jason Tatum, but if you want to pick up a Nicholas Batum and spend most of your MT, you definitely could do that as well, and evo him to Pink Diamond and then replace him over Bruce Bowen and then start him over Kawhi. If you want to spend all your team, you could do that, or if you want to save a good amount of MT, which what I would recommend is just pick up a Bruce Bowen. He's a great lock. He'll fit perfectly off your bench. And starting lineup, I really do like that starting lineup. You could maybe balance it out and put a Havlicek there just to get a bit more offense on the starting lineup. You could balance it out whatever way you want. I'll let you decide that. But thank you, Random User, for sending your team on to the next one. Next team here is from AJ, and he sent me his team on Twitter. Of course, I just like showing you guys that they did send it to me on Twitter so people can actually see that they're in the video. He's got 130k MT to work with. Perfect. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate everyone that tells me. It makes it a lot easier on my end. Okay, so 130k MT, and we got to rate this squad first. The only player I do not like in your team, and he's not bad, but is Draymond Green. He's not bad, but he's just a little bit outdated at this point. So it's definitely worse than the other team. So I'm going to give this team, I gave that last team an 8. I'm going to have to give this team a 7.5 out of 10. It is guys, a 7.5 is not a bad team at all. It is a very solid team, but you just don't have the best players in the game, which is 100% okay. But a good budget team is probably a 7.5 out of 10, maybe an 8 if you had a few. I can make this team an 8 out of 10. That's what I'm trying to say. So 8 out of 10. I like your centers. The only position I think we're going to have to upgrade is Draymond. We're going to move Miles to the backup because we're going to pick up a good power forward. You have 130k to MT to work with. I'm not the biggest fan of Fred VanVleet, so I'm going to recommend someone like an Eric Snow. I think he's personally better than Fred VanVleet. Again, if you like Fred VanVleet a lot, you can keep Fred, as much as you want. You could also look at Derrick Rose if you like a rim running guard. Derrick Rose is really solid. You could look at what's his name, DeJounte Murray. You could look at him as well. You could look at a player like DeJounte Murray. That's probably someone I would recommend with 130k to work with. I'd probably recommend DeJounte Murray over Eric Snow. So I think your bench is fine. I think we're just going to take this one position. I think we're just going to make it very good. I don't feel like you need to really upgrade that bench at all. You could look up to pick up Darius Miles, but I think that bench is honestly will do fine if you pick up that DeJounte Murray. I think for your team, the best thing to do would be to put 8k to the 4. And if you want to go expensive, you could pick up a Myteam, or like I recommended again, I don't know why the website's being slow as hell. I think moving 8k to the 4 and picking up someone like a Myteam, I think that would work very well. If you want to save a bit of MT, I'd probably recommend Kawhi Leonard. I am a big fan of that Myteam. He's just a little bit on the expensive side. So I think Kawhi would fit your team perfectly fine as well. So there's my 2 options for you. You can definitely, play around with that stuff, but I think you definitely need to pick up DeJounte Murray and either Kawhi Leonard or Nicholas Batum. But thank you, AJ, for sending your team on to the next one. Next team comes in from that one, Karen, and he sent me his team on Twitter right here. Did he say how much MT he has? I don't think he did. So he doesn't say how much MT he has, so we're just going to work with, I guess, nothing here. So again, guys, make sure to send in how much MT you have because it makes it generally impossible if you don't give me the MT amount. Okay, so to work with this team, I'm going to sell Mark Aguirre and say he's like 30k MT. Sorry, rating out of 10. So let's say you had Mark Aguirre there. Team's a solid 7.5 out of 10. Bob Pettit is terrible at the 4. Blake Griffin is not very good. George Gerving is solid. But other than that, your team's pretty good. I like your point guards. Your shooting guards are pretty good. Mark Aguirre's okay. George Gerving's okay. Josh Smith is good. Bob Pettit's terrible. Blake Griffin's terrible. Porzingis is good. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. So sell Mark Aguirre, 30k. We're going to sell Blake Griffin, maybe 10k. So let's say we have 40k MT to work with. That's what we're going to do with this squad. That's all I can really do. Josh Smith is going to the 5. Darius Miles is coming up for backup power forward. He's definitely going to slot in there. You could also look to pick up a Rocco for the 4. I definitely would recommend. Actually, I'm going to Rocco, he's just kind of expensive right now, but I think with your team, I'm not going to give you too many suggestions. So I'm going to say to pick up Robert Covington for your starting 4. And then for your backup, I'm going to say to get LeBron James. He's very cheap and very good. He's 2,000 MT Ruby, and he's a really, really good card. George Gerving, you definitely could keep in the lineup. What I would probably do, man, is just probably move Harden to the 3. Again, if you have Rocco there, you have good defense. Harden's a fine defender, 6'5" small forward, he'll be fine. And if you pick up if you pick up a Donovan Mitchell, now hold on, I'm gonna have to explain it here because you are a little bit small. So what you're gonna want to do is probably move George Gerving to the starting lineup, so you have something like this. Your backcourt may get fried, so you may want to watch your defensive end, but I think Donovan Mitchell will help you really well on scoring. Again, what I would do is I would get rid of Trae Young and pick up a lock defender so Donovan Mitchell can cook. But you probably really like Trae Young, and he's a great defender, so I think he'll be fine. So that one, Karen, thank you for sending your team. Again, make sure to send me how much MT you have. It would just help a lot in the future. But thank you for sending your team on to the next one. Next team here is from I think that's how you say his name or whatever. He sent me his team on Twitter. He is right here, and he says he has 100k at max to use. So he clearly does not want to spend that much MT. But I will say, man, this team needs a lot of improvements. This team is a 6.5, maybe a 7 out of 10. There is there's 2 players I like in this team. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. And I'm being straight up. Like, I'm not trying to lie and sugarcoat and be like, oh my God, your team's amazing. Like, hey, you don't have to have an amazing team. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. Your team's not very good, but hey, that's 100% okay. So what I'm going to recommend for you, bro, is sell Lamar to Odom. Sell DeAndre Ayton, sell Bill Laimbeer. I'm going to keep Ron Boone for you at point guard. I feel like he'll do okay, especially you don't have that much MT and you want to save a lot. So sell Julius Erving, get rid of Ibaka. We're going to pick up Josh Smith, and we're going to pick up Porzingis. I think those are 2 guys you definitely need to pick up. I think they'll help your team a lot. You're going to pick up power forward. You're going to go Rocco. Rocco is very solid. You're also going to keep, because again, I don't think you want to spend that much MT, you're going to keep Caron Butler on your team and probably move him to, actually, we might start him. We'll see. but we're going to pick up Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell is very good. Of course, I love Donovan Mitchell. I think the starting lineup is pretty good. I'd probably move Caron Butler to the backup and pick up somebody like a bigger small forward. And then for backup power forward, again, I would just go through LeBron James. Again, this is assuming you want to save some MT. If you don't, you can go all out, but I'd pick up LeBron James. And then for starting small forward, I would pick up Kawhi Leonard. I also believe that Bruce Bowen is better than Caron Butler, but if you want to save some MT, I think Caron Butler will do the job just fine. And man, that team went from literally a 6.5 to I believe this team is a 7.5 out of 10. So honestly, I went up a whole rating on your team. I really do believe this team is a lot better. It went up like a whole rating in my opinion from a 6.5 to a 7.5. So thank you, Yor, for sending in your team. On to the next one. Next team here is from Christian or something like that. Again, I'm really bad with names, guys, but thank you for sending your team. I'm just going to look at your name up here. So he sent in his team, and he said he's got 15K to work with, and he's grinding for KG. Perfect. KG is a great card to go for. So, rating out of 10. Chris Paul, I'm not the biggest fan of. Bruce Brown, you should just have a signature series, but that's fine. I think this team is very solid. I'm going to go 7.5. I think this team is very, very solid. I can't give it an 8 out of 10 because I do not like Chris Paul. And the rest of your players are still really good, but they're nothing exceptionally good, which is 100% okay. But I'm just going to point that out. Okay, so Chris Paul is the only position I think I'm going to upgrade on this team. Bro, just saying, get this Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown is amazing, but pick up a signature series. It should only be like 2-3K more expensive, and I think you get like another Hall of Fame badge, and it might be Hall of Fame clamps. I thought I heard something like that, but definitely pick up the signature series. It's only a few extra thousand MT, but the player we really want to upgrade is Chris Paul, and I say put all your funds into this player. If you want it, if you want it to be Drew Holiday, you can pick up a Drew Holiday. If you want that to be a Dejounte Murray, make that a Dejounte Murray. If you want it to be a Poole, make that a Jordan Poole. But definitely fix that backup point guard spot. You'll find you'll get a lot better defense from a Drew Holiday and a Dejounte Murray. You'll find you get some pretty good offense with Jordan Poole. Drew Holiday and Dejounte Murray give you a good amount of offense as well. But I think this team that's all you really need to do, especially with only 15K MT to work with. Get that KG and replace him for Rafe LaFrance, and you'll be good to go. But thank you, Christian, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but appreciate you for sending your team on to the next one. Next team here is from Rit, I think that's how you say it. Again, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. He sent me his team on Twitter up here, Rit2K20 or 2K1, I guess. Okay, so he says 50K MT to work with. Okay, so 50K MT to work with, and this is his team. I think his team is very solid. I do like this Ha Sing Jin card, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like if you like insides, he's not bad. What I would do is, actually, I'm going to give this team an 8. I'm going to give this team an 8. I think Trae Young's really solid. I think Jaylen Brown's really solid. I think AK's really solid. I think Kawhi, Rocco, Donovan Mitchell, Dejounte Murray, Porzingis, Josh Smith are all really solid. You have 50K to work with. The one upgrade I'd make is go Josh Smith here. And then now you have a bunch of different ways you can go here. So I'd move Rocco to the 4 and put Kawhi at the backup 3. Power forward, you could go a bunch of different ways. It's kind of complex, but what I would do is probably try to save up for Batum. If you can pick yourself up Batum, this team becomes like really, really elite, like way better than it already was. If you can pick up Batum, this team becomes very, very solid. Look at the defense on the starting line, guys. Look at the defense. What I would do to balance up the line is probably put Donovan Mitchell. Actually, I'd probably put Murray. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ways you can go with. I actually kind of like your starting lineup being really heavily defensively. Trae Young, he can score the ball. Jaylen Brown can score the ball. Nicholas Batum, he can score the ball. AK, look at the defense. Look at your defensive team. Your defensive team is amazing. I really actually do like this team. I think I gave it an 8 out of 10. I think this team's almost an 8.5 with Nicholas Batum. I think it's a great defensive team. You may struggle a bit on offense, but everyone struggles a bit on offense. So you're going to be able to lock up people. People should not score on you at all. Obviously, they will, but you should be able to lock up people's teams. I really do like this team. Thank you for saying your team, Rit. Apologize for saying your name wrong if I do. On to the next team. Next team here is from Ruin the Builder, and he sent me his team on Twitter. Of course, he just said an updated team. I'm just going to use a 70K updated team, to be honest with you, because he sent it to me on Monday and then yesterday. So pretty much I'm just going to say he has 70K MT to work with, and this is his team. So rating out of 10, the only people I do not like on your team is Serge Ibaka. He's not terrible, but I'm not the biggest fan of. And I hate Chris Paul. Chris Paul, you need to get out of your lineup. So I'm going to give you a 7.5 out of 10 because every other player is really, really solid. So what I would do, get rid of Serge Ibaka, move Josh Smith down to the backup center. And I like this defensive lineup. Just get rid of Chris Paul and pick up somebody like a Drew Holiday. Again, if you have 70K to work with, you can definitely do some pretty cool stuff. Drew Holiday, you definitely could as well. And then I'd probably recommend a Cole Anthony just to give you a bit more offense off that bench, which will help a lot. He's a great offensive point guard, so you could go him or Drew Holiday. There's a lot of good point guard options, budget point guard options in this game, and then probably move him up there. And then for your 4, again, I know I've been saying the same goddamn player, but if you can pick up goddamn Batum is very, very solid in this game. He's a little bit expensive right now, but if you wait a little bit, Batum is really, really good. If you just wait a little bit, his price should come down, and you'll be able to pick him up, evo him. He'll be really, really solid. But thank you, Ruin the Builder, for setting your team. Your team is very good and solid. Thank you for setting your team on to the final and last team from Easton Kits, and he's got a very solid team. So he sent me his team on Twitter, and he's got 1 million MT with 400 tokens, saving for when they put opals in the token market. I am too. On current, not focused on unlimited since I have Gary and I have Batum and some Rokas for investments. Just need some help in trying to get a new center. Okay, so he mainly wants a new center, which, yeah, that makes sense with Rafe LaFrance. And I think a great place to go, bro, is either just pick up a Miles Turner or a Dikembe Mutombo. Again, it's just preference based between those two. Ty said it best. It's just preference based. If you like a bit more popping, a little bit smaller, but, you know, a little bit more agile center who can shoot very well with a little better release, you go Miles Turner. If you like a big center who can snag rebounds, play a great interior defense, you know, he can shoot the 3 ball very well, just a little bit not the best release, but you like a bit more of mashing and having a bit of center sizing, I guess you could say, like have a center advantage, you're gonna want to go to Dikembe Mutombo. And I would say with your MT, what I would do is I would get rid of Mitch Richmond and pick up a Donovan Mitchell. I love having Gary Payne and Donovan Mitchell. That's my starting lineup, is Gary Payne and Donovan Mitchell. I love having Donovan Mitchell beside Gary Payne because they can both score, but Donovan Mitchell is a really good scorer, and then you have your lockdown defender in Gary Payne, and Donovan Mitchell can play great defense as well. And if you say you like your starting lineup, then that's 100% okay. Rod Strickland, bro, is terrible. Do not use Rod Strickland. Pick up a Drew Holiday. I know you have a lot of MT, so what I would do, bro, is honestly pick up an Isaiah Thomas. I know you have a lot of MT and you want to save it, but trust me, get an Isaiah Thomas, put him in there. You're going to win a lot more games. You're just going to have a lot better team. You have a really solid team. If you don't want to and you want to go more budget, you could pick up a Drew Holiday, though, or a Jordan Poole. I think he'd be great for your lineup as well. You could do that, but if you're looking to get a new center, I'd say between Miles Turner and Dikembe Mutombo, definitely pick up Donovan Mitchell over Mitch Richmond. That is a huge upgrade. And if you want to go a bit more on the money, not money spent, but more of MT spent, definitely pick up Isaiah Thomas, but definitely get rid of Rod Strickland. Rod Strickland is terrible. Pick up a Drew Holiday, pick up a Jordan Poole, pick up a Fred VanVleet, pick up an Eric Snow, pick up a Derrick Rose. Just pick up one of those guys. I think your team is very, very solid. Oh, I forgot to give it a rating? My bad. I think your rating out of 10 would have been an 8, maybe an 8. I'd give it an 8.5. I would give your team an 8.5 out of 10 before I added the upgrades. But thank you, Easton Kits, for sending me your team. And that is it for the video, guys. I did about maybe 10 teams in this video. But if you want to be in the next video, send me your team on Twitter at EvanTanaka10. Give me your MT and give me your team and your MT amount, and I'll make sure to rate and improve it in my next video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.